All right, we'll call the Land Bank Authority meeting to order. And I think we are just, Fred is going to be on the phone. Charles Wallace is not able to attend, but we do have everybody else here. Public participation. Anyone from the public want to participate? I know some people have some presentations. We can do that during that time, but okay. Approval of the minutes from our January 8th meeting. Excuse the elevator music. It's not our normal like Zen, just to try to keep these things calm. All right, so the motion's been made for the minutes. Is there a second? Sure. Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Terry motion.
Okay.
The head. Executive session. Don't think we need one. All right. Financial review. I know we got June through December financials, trial balances from Tim. Tim and I have had a significant number of conversations. And George, especially over the last 24 hours, in trying to get back to some financial reports that provide, some additional kind of summary and get back to kind of where we were in the past, where we had some traditional income statements and balance sheets. So I know Tim's working really hard on that. I see the email traffic throughout the county. With this new Oracle system that's now been in place for a year or two. So everyone's, I think, getting there.
Hi, Fred. We're all here.
All right, hey Fred, it's Matt. We're just on the financial review.
Okay. Thank you.
So the trial balances do, it takes a little more of an accounting look at it, but you can pull, I think, the information we need from those. Those are the documents that you would build an income statement and balance sheet from. You can see our available cash flows and payables, receivables in there. So it gives us a good sense of where we are on our general funds. And as always, we do keep a close eye, of course, with our like demo tracker on some of our programmatic areas. So that's going to be an ongoing process. But I think we're going to just keep seeing more and more improvements in that. But we do have our payment register. I think, Tim, we just need to look at, I'll throw my window up here, the December payment register. Or, I'm sorry, January.
December, January, the statements were just.
So, do we have bills we need to ratify? We're through all of those, and at our next meeting, you'll have the next wave of payments ratified. Okay. Any comments on then the financials? A lot of information was dumped by email, everybody. Those Julys through. And George and I, we had this question or this conversation yesterday. Can you just remind everyone the fiscal year for this program? Because we have between RDA and they're two different fiscal years.
Yes.
So land bank.
This is the FY January, December.
Yeah. So we're on just to make things confusing. The land bank is on the calendar year, so our audits, would begin, January, or at the beginning, at least first quarter of every year. RDA, for those of us who are on RDA, also that is a July 1, June 30 fiscal year.
Question on that, is there any or is that speaking why
we had that conversation some time ago, particularly when we looked at, there was a state law change that would have allowed us, it does allow us to combine the land bank and the RDA into one board. And we did look, one of it's not necessarily an overwhelming hurdle, but would be trying to combine or either deal with those two separately that way or to try to change one of them. I don't know, Fred. I don't have the answer for you. So I don't recall where that went, but there is some hurdles we'd have to get over.
Well, the problem was we were gonna merge the two. They both had the same capacity and abilities to do different things that we do in the community. But the problem is we still had to have two separate
audits
because of the.
Yeah. And we'd have to basically we'd be running under one board, you'd be running two authorities essentially separately, even though they'd be combined together. So we just haven't found that going through that process, we didn't find that changing fiscal years or combining just that the juice was worth the squeeze, so to say. So we've just continued to keep them separately. And then the commissioners would also have.
More of, I think it's really more of process and honestly, you know which one it is. I was curious.
Yeah, and I think there was also kind of a legal look at the statutes, and it would go under the redevelopment authority, and we would drop 2 board members. There was no way to then expand the board to continue to have 7. On land bank, it would, because the redevelopment authority is the entity that would be the essentially controlling entity. So there, that was another issue of does that make sense to do that? All right, so on the financials, is there a motion to approve the financials?
Motion. Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. All right, under new business, I think probably everybody saw that Frank Lynch resigned. He was appointed to the general authority, and with that, it was determined for him to resign from this board. So we all saw Frank's been on this board, I think, since the beginning when it came back into the county's purview from the housing authority. So we're all sad to see Frank go. I had a good conversation with him last week. I think it was kind of mixed emotion for him to leave after all the time on this board, but he's going to be moving over to the general authority where, of course, they have some big things potentially happening there. So he'll certainly be busy
Well, Mr.
in
Chairman,
that capacity.
we weren't able to get Frank something for this meeting, but I'd like to do something for him in March for his time and service that he's dedicated to his team. So,
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I think, he's been on both these boards, and we can do something, see if we can get Frank to show up or so we can get something come into the city for an award. All right, so of course we'll be, the commissioners will be looking at a new board member. That moves us on to the Steel High War Veterans Memorial Demolition Fund request. Mr. George, I'll turn it to you to present the project. I know we have folks here to talk about it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Met with Coach Irby and Mr. Slade a week or 2 ago. And this project's been ongoing for the last couple of years or so.
Yes.
It's evolved to something that is a much bigger scale and scope of work, which I really like the way the project's evolved and the end use for the field and the land and the parcel that the field is on. So I'll kick it to you, Coach, if you want to kick it off, or Mr. Bowser here.
I'll start off. Thank you for having us today. I'm Andrew Irby, Athletic Director, Community Partnerships, and Head Football Coach. Thank you for taking the time to hear us today. Just to put it in a personal perspective, so you have your strategic plan, but I'm kind of like the boots on the ground. So my relationship is very impersonal and intimate with the student athletes. I would start with the hardship. The hardship was the responsibility to tell the players, cheerleaders, band members, parents, community members, and a youth program that we will not have a playable space, which was very difficult, which is not easy. But the highlight of that was the feedback and the vertical alignment that was aligned, that we had much more than a need than just a football field. And I think the most important thing is after our feedback and communication with our members was we identified we needed to revolve and bring our early childhood programs back. We're considered a food desert, which is extremely important to fueling our families. And the wellness, the health and wellness from the elderly and the community members as well. And also from the perspective of your learners, the vocational piece to grow and expand for career opportunities is a need. So it aligned us to the point where we have identified that we need more than just a football field. And I'm speaking on the behalf of as a football coach, where we don't want to put a Band-Aid on something our community needs are much bigger. And it's extremely important because we're looking at saving lives at this point. The question I always get is why? And my why is our models for the run. A lot of people don't always see the hashtag. So as a leader, I think it's important that we understand that we do what's best for our children, even though things are difficult, things get extremely hard. So by our actions, by aligning with revamping our Roller Nation Foundation, which is our nonprofit to be strong, aligning with On Hill Development and Stillworks, and also our community ambassadors shows importance in it and makes it real, with real liability. Just a little bit about what this takes up and what our mission is overall is. Our project is the heart of the community. The stadium is the heart of our community. Right now, we don't have that. So our mission is to develop a community center, which is needed based off of the community members. Put our children on an actual track. They never had a track. Put our players and our band, our cheerleaders back on a playable surface. And again, our end game is simply to make sure that we are putting our children in the best situation. And when you look to your right, you look to your left, we want to know that, okay, when you look down the street where kids have a safe place to play, we don't have to answer the question, why don't we? Or they look to the left, why don't we? So it's difficult when you're in a place where nobody has anything, but we're sitting right in the heart. You look to your right and your left, they have playable things. They have different things and different avenues. The win is, in this short period of time, our legacy ambassadors, what our alumni, have raised right now close to $1 million in less than a year, with some hard work, with some credibility. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Leanne. Thank you.
My name is Leanne Thornbecky. I am the athletic coordinator and assistant to Coach Irby. So with our legacy ambassadors, they are an extension of Coach Irby, where they're really trying to get our mission and vision statement out to try to get the project as fully funded as we possibly can. When we look at having the community center or community hub, as I refer to it, a lot of people just think, okay, we're only looking at a football field. We are looking at so much more, as Coach Irby described. We really stand back and we envision this to be something that not only the communities of Steelton and Highspire will be able to utilize, but all of the surrounding communities will be able to come in. We really look at this project as a life builder for years to come. So with our project ambassadors, many of them are former alumni of Steelton Highspire. Plus we have some that are coming in that really just believe in our vision and our mission. And as Coach Irby said, having to sit down with the student athletes and our band members and our cheerleaders and to tell them that, okay, we don't have anywhere as our home base anymore until we are able to get a safe playable surface just for them. It was quite difficult. I'm also on the coaching staff with Coach Irby. Our kids just looked at us, and as Coach Irby said, their first question was why? Why can't we? Why don't we? And that was probably the hardest conversation I think we have had to have with our student athletes and everyone that utilizes the area. It's not just football. The band is affected. Our cheerleaders are affected. As Coach Irby said, our youth program is affected. We don't have any other areas that can be utilized. Our practice field is basically a 50-yard plot of grass to the side of our surface, our playable, well, unplayable surface. That brings along more challenges, and we're facing those challenges, but we would like to be able to have our student athletes and our band and just everybody in the community be able to step back and say, wow, they did that. They actually made a place for the community to come together.
Turn over to Tom. All right, so I'm here to kind of more or less talk about the numbers. And I know in the package there you do have like kind of a sketch plan of what's being proposed here. We've broken this project down into what we think are more actionable phases. And so what we're looking at and why we're here today is for what we are considering kind of phase 1A, which is demolition. So what we're looking at is there's a lot of old underground utilities, old curbs that's busted up. The grandstand has seen better days, to say the least. The visitor bleacher section has seen better days. And so what we want to be able to do is to be able to get in now, as Coach said, the foundation has done a phenomenal job in less than a year with raising close to $1 million. I know there's another big fundraiser coming up in a couple of weeks that they're excited about, and a lot of other prospects. And so we want to be able to keep that momentum going and being able to, I think, get out there and start at least with demolition continues to show the community that we're headed in the right direction. We are serious about this and that we are moving forward. And so we have about a $320,000 proposal for demolition. We currently do have that out on the streets now for bidding the demo contractors. I think we've done at least 1 or 2 rounds of pre-bid meetings so far. So I think we're anticipating on getting final numbers on that probably here by the end of the month, beginning of March. We are looking at, we have a pretty aggressive schedule to move forward. All demo plans have been approved, have been recorded. So we are essentially shovel ready. We're ready to stick a shovel in the ground and be able to get started. So pending approval here and a couple other pieces coming together, we're anticipating starting in the April-May timeframe. Should take about 60 to 90 days to complete construction, to then be able to move forward. And then as we finish up demolition, we're also looking at phase 1, which would be new turf field, new bleachers, new lighting, new goalposts, all new utilities, all new site work, and then possibly track. So we're kind of seeing where the numbers come in, both on the construction side, but then also on the fundraising side. But we would love to add that track. I know in phase 1, all inclusive, that's probably about a $3 million project, give or take. So very doable. Again, we've already raised a little bit over $1 million. A lot more commitments potentially come in. On Hill is working diligently on the public side, other grant applications that we currently have in as well. And so, we're hoping to continue with that momentum over the next 12 to 18 months to be able then to move forward into what we call phase 1A or phase 1B, I guess, which would be all the things I just mentioned. I think that's pretty much it I have on my end as far as construction time frame and what we're looking at for phase 1.
Jonathan, you indicated, or maybe it was indicated that this is all going to be money outside of school district,
Yes.
general funds. Like
Yes.
this is community raised grants.
Correct.
Yeah, my name's Sean O'Toole. I'm with Hill Development. We're a consultant, overseeing the fundraising primarily on the grant writing side. The only thing I'd like to add is what started all this was the PIAA. If you haven't been following the story, what started all this was PIAA coming in and telling the school district, we're not going to let we're not going to let you play on this service anymore. It's too dangerous. So this is not a situation where the school district says, well, we have an adequate field, but we want a state of the art. This is, we need to do this or we don't play home games from now on. So that's the only thing I would.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And again, just, I guess there's a lot of information out, so if I missed this, I apologize, but when will the surface be, when and how does the surface get redone? Is that's part of this whole project?
Yes.
And you said, so John, if I missed it, that's, you have
Part
to
of
do that in
phase one.
phase one.
Mhm.
You already have synthetic turf there,
Yes.
it just has to be replaced.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
It has to be completely ripped out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a problem underneath the.
So it's more than just.
It's more than- yeah.
Surfacing, yeah.
Correct.
Our turf was installed in 2007.
Okay.
Usually the average lifespan of of turf is roughly about 10 years. You can sometimes make it last maybe 15 years. Our turf has well outlived its sustainability. And if you think of the turf as carpeting, if you have carpeting in your home that after so long just wears down, it starts to pull away from itself and it starts to make little strings. Well, unfortunately, that's where our turf is, which can really cause significant ankle and knee injuries to anyone who utilizes it.
Yeah, sure.
And we did an impact test.
Yes.
If any collision. So that was a safe thing. And the grandstand is from 1912. So.
It's historic though, you know.
But demonstrators
It was historic.
protected.
It is, yeah.
Antique, but
Yeah.
Build them the exact same way they were originally.
Yeah.
constructed.
I mean, if we could,
Yeah.
it's just a rough go from 1912.
So in the phase one demo, are you demoing just the field? Because I see here phase two then has demolishing and replacing of bleachers. So is this phase 1A, are you now fast forwarding all the demo
Correct,
into
yes.
that
Yes.
memory quite
Correct, yeah.
And I could speak on that too a little bit. I know me and Jonathan, we had spoke. If we were going to add a track, the field needs to shift just to fill the track. I mean, our kids never had a track. There's rocks. So we anticipate at least our goal is the kids run on concrete for track out in front of the high school. We don't have any home meets. They practice on the rocks. They're getting ready now. They're running on the concrete. We're out in the
In our
parking lot
hallways.
or in the hallway. So it's one of those things where there's a lot of pieces to it, but that's another thing too. Like it's tough to see girls and boys running on concrete. And go to your right, you go to your left, they got a track. So
And it's also a safety issue as well. I mean, we've never seen so many shin splints in the past few years as we have because it's just not safe for them. So what they have been doing is they were utilizing our turf field. Well, now they can't utilize that at all. And we've produced state champions in most recently 2 years ago. So, we have a motto for our track team, no track, no problem. But again, when they look at things that are offered around them and they always just say, why not us? Yeah.
So $50,000 request, that would go toward that 320,000, which sounds like you already have in hand. You've already fundraised over $1 million. So that essentially for us would be sort of the discrete project, would be doing that demolition, and getting that completed within a time frame. There's a lot of details. Of course, Kayla is probably thinking through as our counsel, the contract that you'd have to sign for that would have to be done within a certain time frame. And then we have to match a project to it. So it's not just necessarily the demolition, but what does that lead to? So I think we just, assuming if we have to vote on this, I want to jump ahead of ourselves, but there has to be, what is it? Is it all of 1A? Is it parts of 1A? Is it just, grandstands, getting the field back in place and grandstands so it's playable, and that's our project. And then the rest of it's great, but we wouldn't attach necessarily those components to your requirements. Because whatever the requirements are, that's what would have to be completed. Not John, you've been through this.
Yep.
That's what would have to be completed to satisfy the grant.
That's for the grant, yeah. Yeah, and I think, phase one, I broke out the 1A because we still see it all as one phase. So it's demolition, then it's turf, new bleachers, what am I forgetting? Bleachers, turf, lights. That's really the
That's
three.
that could be
That's the project. That's the project.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of just said 1A. To
Yeah.
kind of say it's a project
That's
within the.
Not the track, not
Correct.
the rest of it.
Correct.
So then, what's the cost of that piece?
All in 3.5 million.
Okay, so that's the 3.5.
3.5 million, but that would include the demolition in that.
Okay.
And because we're breaking it up the way we are, it's probably a little bit less than 3.5 million. Because if you look at what you have in your packet, including demo, you're probably 3.5 million. But I think at that point we had about $500,000 for demo. Where now we've kind of taken it down to about 300.
What's like the lights component? Because I sort of look at this and like this. We always want to kind of push these to the maximum investment. This one's a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. From our perspective, again, it's my opinion, not the board's, but if you didn't have lights, you still are operating. You still can have games. They just have to be daytime. So, and I know you want them. I'm not saying don't do them.
Yeah.
But just in terms of what are you putting into the requirements that you have to do and tied with a demo grant? I mean, 3.5 million is a pretty big multiple on a $50,000 grant. So I'm not opposed to seeing that decrease so that we're not in some situation where you don't achieve the grant, but you've really done what you need to do.
I was gonna add too, I mean, and it would depend on the sequencing of what needs to go in, but even if you could decouple the bleacher as well, and it could just be because if you're shifting the field, you're gonna have to demo the other bleachers that currently stand. So there's a base case for the total grant in the scope of work. And now if the turf would go in first, and then you could tie that to completion for this body, that would even be a less lift. And
Yeah.
it's what you need, which is now, you might not be able to host the events.
Yeah, see,
And this is just tied to the
our
grant.
bleachers are, regardless, once you touch, they're out of compliance, like there's.
Sure.
You can't even sit in the bleachers, and the thing with the lights was, the biggest thing was, the light factor was, safety, but by the time we get to the winter and the playoffs, like, we need lights to practice,
Sure.
and then our youth program needs lights in a safe place. So that was kind of like, lights where we kind of talked about it because we used to go play Saturdays, but that was one of the things where your safety issues in your youth programs late at night, not having your band practice, your
Right,
light.
sure.
So it's like we don't have multiple places of lighting, so you're about the only place unless this year we utilized, the fire company was able to help us with a little bit off to the side. I mean, at one point, I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of, we use their cars.
We
So, I
pulled our
mean,
cars to our
yeah,
grass area.
resourceful,
and all
right?
of our
So, I
different-
mean, we found some creative ways, but it's not ideal, but that was the light piece. You know what I mean?
I think to your point, the one piece that we could pull out, it would be the track. Because the tracks, the tracks in that number, that's about $1 million number. And that is something that they have contemplated, do we do in phase one or do we move it to phase two? We'd love to do it in phase one, but I think for purposes of this grant, we could probably pull it out
Pull that out.
of
And we're
phase
just
one
trying
and
to
we'll
get
take
that
number down.
performance, the matching number, performance number down to
Yeah.
something where, because this is a pretty tight window, right? Like our typical is.
Yeah, I was just pulling it up to look at it. So we generally require the demolition at least be done within 12 months of the effective date of
Right.
whenever we come to this agreement. And then I think what Matt's getting at as far as the end use, seeing if we can come down on that, we usually do 18 months, and that's a pretty tight.
That's a
timeline.
tight window. So if it's the demo, and I like John was saying, and then the field,
Mhm.
that's your project.
Yeah.
And then we're not telling you don't do anything else. Go get the grants, and we know you're doing it.
This.
But for this, that's the required match and performance you would have to do to satisfy everything here.
Yeah. So we can skinny down the scope of the project. Just to do the field though, you are gonna need the lights, you're gonna need the bleachers. 'Cause
Yeah, you're gonna do it all.
You gotta do the basics to even have a field, but we
Right.
could just keep it at that and skinny it down as much.
And I'm
as
sure
possible.
that spend has to be.
Probably about $2
The
million.
demo and the field, yeah. So
It's
it's
$2 million.
it's still a
It's-
big number.
It's still a big number, but them already having $1 million plus in the bank already,
Yes.
we're not too far away. It's not like, you know, we're not too far away.
Plus for our time frame, that, and we can extend those timeframes. I mean, we've done those. I mean, the purpose has always been, we want to see people that are, do the demo and then do the project.
Yeah.
Not doing demo just for the sake of doing demo unless there's some, overwhelming reason why we're just doing that. So that's why there's always these tighter timeframes. So if we're looking at the demo and then getting the field in place for our purposes, I think that works for this grant.
That works. And again, even for phase one, it's all approved and permitted. So, we have a shovel-ready project. We're not sitting here saying we got to go through land development for another 12 months and zoning. All that's taken care of. So it really is a shovel-ready.
So,
There you
Mr. Chairman, so they have 5 of the 9 criteria covered for this grant, and also, what other grants? You guys are going for a RAC B as well, correct?
Yeah, Sean would have to be, yeah.
Okay. And that's for the back end of the phase 2.
Yeah, probably, yeah. That's back in phase one, in phase 2.
Other comments?
I have a couple comments.
Yeah.
I'm new to this. What's your position?
So I'm a construction manager on behalf of.
All right, that's what I just knew where they I got with coaching.
Yeah.
All right. I grew up in this area, and a lot of people went to Steel Heights.
Hey, Charles, we're in Land Bank.
There's probably not a school in this area that has as much pride for their sports as Steel High gets. I mean, all the people I know from Steel High really there's a lot of pride in this, and you've had probably not one of the best basic football fields in the area for all these years. And I can see you wanting to do all that. I mean, I get that. And I now understand more from hearing you today talk about your field isn't playable. And PIAA probably wouldn't let you play on it no matter what. But I live in Lower Paxton. And Central Dolphin went and redid their field, put in this track, did all this stuff. And I used to go over there, and when I was in the military, I would use their track to prepare for my 2-mile run I had to do for the Army, and I'd go over and use their track. And all of a sudden, they came over, they locked the gates. And no community people can use the football field or the track anymore because of vandalism. People were going in there doing stuff they shouldn't have been doing, I guess. And I went to the township and complained. I said, look, I'm a taxpayer. I want to use the track to get in shape and do what I had to do. There's too much product that we didn't foresee, and so we blocked the gates. And as far as I know, the gates are still locked to the public. Fortunately, I got out of the Army and I don't have to do that PT thing anymore. But you're going to have the same issue in your community if people wanting to get in there and use your field when they're not supposed to be using your field. And
Can I speak to that? So
please, yes.
that is our reason why, if you look here, we also have a lot of veterans and community members and other people that walk. We have that built into our project, the brick area for the community walk as well. For that was a part of our feedback from our community members. A lot of our elderly, they wanted the walk. I mean, they've done that for years. But that's a piece of our project built into our community for our wellness piece, is for people to have access where you could be separate from the field and location if we're practicing and still continue to walk. So that was a
That's what that piece is. All right, well, I was trying to read this letter. I got this yesterday afternoon. And I'm trying.
Yeah, if you look around it, no, that was, and again, I think the best thing we did was a community need. I mean, just growing up, like all the old timers would come up and walk, and that's a chance to congregate. We're stoked. That's what it's built off of. So that was a lot of the feedback that we had with families, kids, veterans, you guys, your old timers. They want to talk. Those are the guys that see at the store and ask me, when the field going to open up? When we get in the field? So I understand your perspective, but that's built into our plan as well, because
You're going to invest $3 million into this.
It needs to be for
arena,
everybody.
we'll call it. And to worry about security of it,
Yeah.
which I think is really, and I'm a security
Yeah.
law enforcement guy. Security of this property that you're going to spend $3 million fix it up is critical. to make sure it lasts you 10 or 15 years. I mean, Central Gulf went and locked the gate, which
Yeah.
disturbed me no end.
And that's one thing that we really, from the start of this, with the day we found out that our surface wasn't playable, that's the one thing that we really wanted to put at the forefront. I mean, of course, we know we're going to face challenges with kids who want to come in that shouldn't be there, or, any type of vandalism that may occur. We're really trying to put in as much focus on the safety as we can, but still allowing the public to be able to utilize the areas as they need. With the walking track that is around the stadium, what's nice about that is it will be accessible almost at any time. And it is separate from the track area that our student athletes would be utilizing, but it still allows them to come in to enjoy the area and be able to do what they need to do, and it's not just closed
Okay.
off and locked.
In the couple minutes I had last night to try to understand this whole thing, I missed that. So thank you for explaining it.
Sure.
Other questions? Comments? I mean, I think we had at least some conversation on, $50,000 award based on, maybe a limited component of phase one, which would include the, the field, but not including lights, bleachers, so it's demolition and which sounds like it's over a $2 million cost, so pretty substantial leverage on $50,000. Okay. If there's any more comments, does anyone want to make a motion?
Are we to the point, do we need to see it, as we talked about possibly amending the scope, do we need to see an amended proposal, or can we?
I
From
was
a
just going to
procedural
ask that as well,
standpoint.
just so we could have something if possible.
Yeah, I mean, we could push it a month, or we could provide an approval based on
Well, she's gonna
the scope.
draft the agreement, the requirements that you guys want to see it.
Right,
And then Jonathan can submit.
And then I'll just submit a revised scope of work
that's fine.
to match the agreement.
So what we're looking for, I'm guessing, is we're looking for you to tell us, you have $50,000 worth of demolition that needs to be done, and this $50,000 would go towards that part of the project.
Correct.
Is that what we want?
Yes.
Okay,
And then their
that
project,
makes sense.
and then their project will have an overall
We don't care about that.
non-demolition.
Right.
We have to write that into
In
the
there.
contract, that has to be completed
Okay.
as a criteria.
Yeah, because they just can't demo it and then have a
And then do
quarters
nothing.
finished project.
Right.
And then we're like, well,
Yeah,
it's
we-
still blight. We have
Right.
And the
That's what
contract
we
provides
capture.
some rights to us,
Okay,
to
so we
essentially
just
claw
got-
back the money if the project's not completed. And that's the situation we don't want to get into on a project like this, that, we set that scope to a reasonable number, and so it sounds like we kind of have that, but you tell me timing wise, we can approve the whole thing based on that,
Oh,
or do you want to put that together and bring that back for our next meeting to do a final approval?
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve pending council saying that we're good to go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, I'm fine with doing this logistically, however everyone wants to go about it. Understanding that they're changing their scope of work, I want to make sure we have in our agreement that the board is comfortable with the scope
Okay.
first, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that motion kind of captures that, and we'll look at this, and I would add, it's okay on the motion, that you look at the timeframes also. So that our normal 12-month, 18-month, let's just on the front end, if that doesn't fit, we're talking about a school district, you got to process. You got to go through. So if it doesn't fit that process, let's make sure that we set those dates properly so that this project can fit underneath, fit within, whether it's 18 months, 24 months, something reasonable, of course, but
And just so you guys know, so we've already been through this process a couple times, so we've already been hedging a lot of that. And
Okay.
so,
Perfect.
with demo, again, we hope to be able to start in April, as far as the demolition. As far as the rest of the remaining piece of phase one, it is also out on the street as we speak. So, the foundation board is adamant about getting this done. You know, this isn't something that we want to sit on, and so,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, we've kind of already fit this into knowing the 12-month, 18-month timeframe that this requires.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And so the scope isn't really changing.
Right,
Only thing we may do is just pull out the track.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Outside, so that's all we're gonna pull out, because everything else, to be honest, has to get done to put in the turf. So we gotta do everything else. Only thing we're going to remove is the turf, because that's something that we don't have to do to get it to be playable and usable space for what we're talking about here today.
And then I'll motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second your own motion.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any other comments? Not, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
So
Hey, thanks for spending time with us. That was great.
we've been through this.
Yeah, good luck with the
We'll
whole
craft
thing.
the agreement and we'll get it sent out to everyone.
I'll go ahead and
Signature.
just take that out for now, and then
Okay.
you guys can have it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
All right, good to see you all.
Thank you very much.
All right, Middleburg Borough.
Thank you. It's because
That was his.
All right, George.
you know what I mean?
Let's move into Millersburg.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so, Millersburg,
Yeah.
$1,000, and it's, basically a structure that's been there since I started.
I get
Okay.
it.
Yeah, okay,
I tried.
yeah.
Yes.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah, I talked to him. Thank you, nice to meet you. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Thank you guys very much. Have a great day, everyone.
I talked to him on the phone.
Okay.
I try to get it. It's like, take a year, so.
Well, I think he's great. I think he's great.
I'm gonna call him back.
When I was in high school, all the coaches were a lot older than you.
Let the record show that the guy who's always on me.
Yeah.
Let the record show the guy who's always on me to keep the meetings moving.
And he's
That should definitely be in the minutes.
Yeah.
Meeting has been delayed by
All
Tom.
right, brother, see you.
Thank you, Tom. All right. That's good. No, I bet it's better that way. I'm just noting, Tom, that you always want the meetings to move fast. I'm trying. I'm trying.
Hold the meeting. Well, they always told me if you go over an hour.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right, Millersburg Borough.
So if anyone is familiar with Millersburg, right beside the municipal building is like a blighted structure that's been there for years. I don't even know the history on it, if anyone knows, but it's been there since I started at the county, 2002. They now want to try to get rid of this structure so they can do some development there. I know they're working on an economic development plan, beautification plan for the entire borough. They're really trying to improve the quality of life for the Millersburg residents. So that's the request. And like I said, the structure's been there forever. Did they have any pictures there?
That's what I was gonna ask. I mean, you just come in and do a presentation.
Yeah.
Not always. What do you like to see it?
No, I apologize. I thought there were pictures in the application.
How close is this building to the municipal?
It's right across the street.
Across the street.
It's been there forever.
So the municipal buildings right, where the square is, the municipal buildings right here and the police stations.
Okay, the old
There's a
police
little
station.
alley here with some homes and then it's a fenced in area right here. So then the wooden nickels right here.
Okay, so it's
So it's
between the
this-
wooden nickel and the.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But it's like a
It's this
concrete
concrete
structure.
structure.
It used to be,
the concrete was down. That's where they fenced it.
no, they want to remove everything.
Yeah, concrete.
Yeah.
too.
There's like a room, there's stuff inside of there. It's like a building.
So, reminder, who owns the property?
The borough owns
The
that.
borough, they have control of the property. This is,
Yeah, I think they took control.
I would-
Recollection.
I would just say, in comparison to what we just received, when we presented, and knowing we're gonna need a backside scope of work. I mean, bluntly, I think we need more from them, you know, I'm not against it by any means, but what's going into place, what's the feasibility, all the questions we just answered from the steel community, I think would be questions we would need to have answered, which it doesn't seem like we necessarily have.
yeah, can we have them come in next meeting? And then do their presentation? I mean, Millersburg's been through this process before. We did Reamer Tool, they had others, I forget the one that was kind of pending.
That was a residential
That they were
structure.
trying to do that had all kinds of property, it had just crazy issues, property control and stuff. So they know the process, know the drill. I think it'd be great if they come in. All right. I assume that doesn't create any hardship for them on this property. There's not a
No, I would
Some-
say,
crazy deadline or something they need. Yeah, okay. All right, then, George said, we'll move on to, table that till our next, next meeting. We'll do a presentation or whenever they can come in. Authorization executive director to open bank accounts and adjust investments.
So our office has been, and Dan's been very helpful with this, and Tim as well. Just trying to maximize our finances that we do have in bank accounts, very similar to what the county does. Trying to find better rates for banking, making more money off of interest rates, which we never really, I wouldn't say focused on that, but a lot of our grants can't receive interest due to the nature of the grant. But, the county just, I think like a week or two ago, gave authorization to Chris Davis to manage the bank accounts and shift dollars to find a better rate of return on the dollars that are in the bank. So that's kind of what we're trying to request here, doing it for all of our boards, land bank, big authorities, and IDA as well.
So what kind of controls just generally exist on these kinds of dollars? I know you're touching all kinds of different dollars. Some state, could be federal, could just be county.
I think what George is asking is if it is not controlled, money in, money out, and we're allowed to earn interest, of which some accounts have significant balances that aren't being touched anytime soon, can we, in lieu of waiting for the next board meeting or a canceled board meeting and the next board meeting, just get a ratified motion, which we kind of do anyways, but I think we want to be out loud with it, where if we move money, for example, from M&T to FNB, and because it's getting 2% more, this board doesn't have a $10 million balance, but some balances do. I think obviously the staff and the board secretary should inform at the next available meeting, but it shouldn't be delayed because 3 meetings go by. And under the last administration presidentially, we had 5% CD rates, 5% money markets. We're not putting that kind of money when we probably should be, when we're allowed to be. Again, if we're not allowed to be, we're not gonna put money.
So what are if there are no limitations, what is the limitation? Like, what's the overarching limitation? Like, we're not investing in stocks. We're not putting in anything that carries, I mean, really, we're not putting anything in that carries risk, right? I mean, we're limited to treasuries, CDs, anything that's FDIC or whatever it is now, protected. Where is that? Where is that written somewhere? Is there a policy?
High yield bond? That was my question with it. As you're looking at the investment vehicle, like if it's just rate shopping amongst the we have a clear limitation on what is per investment policy
allowed to be invested in. So it's anything with the FDIC insurance or implicit government guarantee. Like, could agencies? It's like if you were going to a bank and they push them over to the wealth management side, would they say, well, hey, we have corporates, AAA rated, bank rated, that's the same question I had. Like, is this just CD shopping, or what is the actual?
It's more money market, CD shop, and nothing bigger than that. But if we switch bank accounts, obviously you're an assigner, and I think it's Frank. So we'll need another assigner as well. So if we switch accounts, then obviously you guys will be involved. We're talking about that possibly, or moving money internally at the bank that we currently have to get better rates, like what John was saying, a money market account and or CD or whatever.
I just think we have to have so if we're going to approve this, we have to have some motion. If there's not some other control already in place, we should just have the proper motion that limits this to. I think, Jen, you probably laid it out best.
He's a financial guy. That's
What kind of money we can invest our dollars in. It essentially has to be something that has no risk.
Yeah, it would almost, to your point, I think in having some documentation behind it and something to be able to motion, it would be, here is the investment policy statement or whatever it's titled under. This is what our eligible universe of investable assets are. We are now giving the leeway to move institution to invest maximize yield based upon this criteria. And then, I would be fine with that, but I think to your point, it would be good to have that clarity prior to approval.
Yeah. So if you could bring that back at our next meeting with that kind of language.
We get that.
Do we have that written as a policy, or does one of the kind of sister boards will say have
I was going to ask.
that written?
Does any other board have that?
I don't know. As George said, I didn't know we were going to, but since we're going to the IDA, the RDA, the land, but since we're going, it should probably just be a consistent.
Yeah.
And I think it's just blessing that you'll get it at the next meeting, or the whole board has never really weighed in. We're operating at FNB. But when we go to the bank and say, can you give us a better rate than zero? And they say, absolutely, then there might be a delay in getting your signature or her signature or somebody's signature. So I think we weren't asking to allow us to invest it in
Sure.
bonds or stocks or pension funds. We're asking just to avoid the delay and inform the board at the next available meeting so that it's open and transparent, which it's discoverable anyways, because we give you the financials. But
I mean, I could easily provide boilerplate to you, George, that we would use with clients when you're looking at, kind of a government entity, whether it be allowable. Because again, I think that would be a great thing for all the boards to have, because then even as the accounts switch, they're switching over with the explicit kind of policy statement of here's what's, as we're switching over a banking relationship or a portion of the banking to maximize yield, here's what's allowable per the board's instructions. And then for the bankers, it just gives clarity, because then they know out the gates, this is the investable universe in which the public money is able to be invested. And then, there's no misconception of what would be allowed. But I can forward over what we have from Morgan Stanley.
Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Take a look at them. And I think it's
Yeah, if I heard it right, I think having a policy and obviously explaining David in that, and what kind of instruments or what kind of accounts. Not sure if there could be like some dollar limit on there. And also, like as soon as it's already documented, communicated, like on the day of transaction to the secretary, I think that should be okay.
okay. Yeah, we certainly can build that in. I mean, it kind of builds in like our ratification process on checks, so we keep the process moving. But then it's all disclosed and ratified, but if there's a dollar amount, which would require a pre-approval. we can look at that concept. I think what you guys are doing is great. I mean, it makes sense. If we can make more money on the dollars rather than having just sitting there in a checking account with no interest on them. Yeah.
The bank's making money on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not been an issue for a long time, right? Until kind of post-COVID, when all of a sudden rates started popping again. Our savings accounts, they're all below 1% at one point, so.
Well, and I would even just say as a general commentary from the investment standpoint, where it kind of opens a broader kind of question of efficiency with money. To your point, the banks are making money.
Yeah.
So if at this point, the procedure for a lot of the boards, rate shop, we'll go to F&B or we'll go to wherever, we'll bounce around and just try to rate shop. You're basically, it's already been stepped on by the banks taking their cut, and now you're getting the CDs at what they're marketing them at. So the question would then be, what is allowable? Because if we can just go out and buy treasuries, is there a better entity in which we can just go directly buy? If it allows for buying treasuries directly, then we can not have to worry about going through a bank and CDs necessarily. Or, you can, in essence, kind of skip the bank and go right through a brokered entity that will get you a more pure and reflective yield for where the curve sits. So I think that.
I guess you just gotta watch, as Tim will probably tell you, we don't know when we'll need the money, so we want it to be efficiently able to come back or come in. So, for this board, I don't think you have millions of dollars in your account, so it's not as relevant, say, for our gaming money or our tourism money, where we do have millions that never dip below a certain number. And we're not, as George pointed out, the budget director, he doesn't get the county commissioner's permission, but he informs them, we're not necessarily advocating that. He informs them that he has a pool of banks, and when the rates allow a higher amount, again, not pension funds, not treasuries, but FMB, Pliget, we're getting 5.5. He announces it at every meeting. It's not real exciting, but it's between 3 and 5% the last 24 months. And we weren't getting that. And in some cases still aren't. And on 10, 5, $2 million, I think we should. And we want to do it efficiently instead of talking about it another 3 months.
I think it's great.
Yeah, no, I think it makes a lot of sense, but I do think it's government money. You gotta have a policy in place that just kind of puts a cap on it, so everyone's clear.
I'm still in the meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree. And also, like with this one too, as Dan said, I think, whatever money is there, if we're actually able to forecast, like the use for that, we just throw the money in some CD for 30 days, 60 days, whatever that is. Even if we have to call it back because we need the money, it's still better than nothing, right? Than zero or, whatever we're earning for the check.
All right. So we work on that for next. And you did raise a.
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry.
my understanding is you want to start this process right away, is that correct? So why can't we vote on it and give George and legal the authority to go ahead with it?
And I'm just more comfortable having a policy in place.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. They're gonna make a policy. She's gonna make a policy. John's gonna help.
But you can't move the money. You can't move the money without the policy. So I don't know the difference. They were just saying, Tom, to give them, I mean, we are giving them the, go do it, but bring the policy back for us to approve it first. So then we say, go ahead and move the money.
Well, how long is it gonna take to put the policy together?
I mean, in earnest, it's pretty simple.
I don't think it's very hard.
They can't send us a copy of policy?
No, and I was telling that we do the resolution side too.
Yeah.
Just
I think we
something,
got it.
so it's in writing,
Do what now?
like a resolution that you can all adopt. I do think we need something.
I'm not saying these guys are about to, abscond with the money.
Oh,
Yeah.
But as I'm just saying, it's public
You
money.
can't do anything until they're assigned.
He signs it,
No,
and somebody else signs it.
Right.
And who's that other person gonna be?
Well, that's not necessarily true. You could shift money around in your bank accounts and I don't have anything to do with it.
In the bank accounts, but we can't switch banks without that.
You can't switch banks without us, but if you wanted to move money over to the wealth side, a private banking wealth side of a bank, you could. I don't know that I would have anything to say about that. Or the treasurer. And so that's where dollars could get invested. So if we're gonna have probably should have had this policy in place a long time ago, but we were generally dealing with checking account, savings accounts. If we're gonna move out of the checking account, savings account realm, we should have a policy. And so those dollars can only be invested in areas where we're comfortable that we're not gonna have essentially any risk. Or that, we're talking about treasuries and savings accounts, CDs, things that are essentially guaranteed.
I would take one.
All right, I mean, if you don't like that, I mean, you're gonna make a motion, we can vote. We always. I'm just. Well, it's just opinions. I mean, that's where I am. It sounds like that's where John is, but we want to do something different. We're not the only ones on the phone.
Keep trusting, I don't know.
As long as I'm not the one going to jail,
Yeah.
I can live with it.
That's always the goal, Terry.
That's the main purpose of.
You do need to appoint someone, because Frank's on all the accounts.
I was just
Well,
going to ask that.
I think that's got to be a vote of the board. It's got to be on the agenda. We can't add it now.
Okay.
So is that
That
kind of
has
it?
a note. I have it.
We'll have that on the March agenda and work that out now. I mean, that doesn't stop us from doing anything.
Right.
We just need to.
We're gonna get Frank off the account.
So as long as you're around, I'm around.
What's he the treasurer?
He was treasurer. You can remove him.
Can
This
he,
is
yeah,
resign.
you can get him off.
You can resign. You
him
can
off for
remove him.
Or get him all the account.
the account.
Yeah, and you and Tim are the gatekeepers, so it's not. But you should remove him probably at a good measure.
Does it have to be the treasurer, sergeant?
It is. And the chairman.
Well, it's usually just one of the two. It's just one of the two.
No, we have two board members on all of ours.
Yeah,
For every-
yes, but you're a signer.
Right, yeah.
I'm a signer, Frank was a
I'm
signer,
third-
and
I'm
you
a
just
third
need
signer,
two.
Yeah,
You just need two of the three people.
right.
Two board members.
No, George,
It's three. It's me and two board members on all of our.
But we only need two.
but you only
That's
need
what
two
I'm-
signatures though. You only need two signatures. Which has
Correct.
typically been George and me,
Right.
but Frank, as
being-
treasurer, was also able to sign essentially in lieu of my signature.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, we're not gonna have a treasurer, because Frank resigned.
Yes.
Okay, so in the meantime, can it be any board member, second board member sign it?
You'd have to be on the account.
You have to be on the account, but we have to have it on the agenda to vote.
Vote,
I
right.
understand that, but then we're gonna be another month finding out who that person's
No, we're
going to
not, we're just not allowed by law to put it on the agenda.
I understand that.
Yeah, we're gonna do it in March.
Well, they're gonna nominate you next month.
You're gonna be vice chair.
I know you want the job, so this is, I'm running for president.
Don't want to be treasurer.
I don't wanna be president.
Well, then you two are getting nominated is what it's.
Oh,
Yeah. So we can work that out for the next meeting, but it'll be on the agenda. We just didn't pick up on it before this. We didn't get this on the agenda to do it, so we'll get it onto the agenda formally next month. We'll have a treasurer again and then get all that done. In the meantime, we should remove Frank from all our bank accounts. All right, I mean, we have the demolition fund on there. We approved we can take a look at the tracker. There's 541,000 in the account. I suspect we've received more dollars coming in. We've got 16,700, I assume, in
Correct.
January.
Correct.
That's the only month. So that seems to be kind of a little low, but our typical
Yeah.
burn rate. We got 241,000 last year, which is kind of where we've been even a little bit of an uptick. So we just did 50,000, we have another 50 in. We're in pretty good shape in terms of demolition fund. Any comments on the demo fund? If not, correspondence, miscellaneous board comments.
Everyone wish Carrie happy birthday. Happy.
Happy birthday, Terry.
Saturday,
Saturday?
Valentine's Day.
All right.
Yep. 'Thank you.
What a pleasant present for your parents.
I was. They did everything they could to try to keep.
I don't know what that is.
They took out that $1,000 life insurance policy, hoping. I also got married on Valentine's Day.
Oh, wow.
Smart man.
Knock out 3
Reflect on your
holidays.
birthday.
And now I got married in the year 2000, so I never have to calculate how many years I've been married.
You have this all figured out.
I figured it out. The second time.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
I have a second. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned. All right, thanks, guys.
Okay.
First of
Yeah,
two.
take all that, just and start. We're not having